going with that axe?
Out to the hog house. Some pigs were born last night.
I don't see why he needs an axe.
Well, one of the pigs is a runt. It's very small and weak, and it will never amount to anything. So your father has decided to do away with it.
Do away with it? You mean kill it just because it's smaller than the others?
Don't yell, Fern. Your father is right. The pig would probably die anyway.
Fern pushed a chair out of the way and ran outdoors.
Please don't kill it. It's unfair.
Fern, you will have to learn to control yourself.
Control myself? This is a matter of life and death, and you talk about controlling myself?
Fern, I know more about raising pigs, or a litter of pigs, than you do. A weakling makes trouble. Now run along.
But it's unfair. The pig couldn't help being born small, could it? If I had been very small at birth, would you have killed me?
Certainly not. But this is different. A little girl is one thing, and a little runty pig is another.
I see no difference. This is the most terrible case of injustice I've ever heard of.
All right. You go back to the house, and I'll bring a runt when I come in. I'll let you start it on a bottle, like a baby. Then you'll see what trouble a pig can be.
When Father returned to the house half an hour later, he carried a cargo under his arm.
Put it on her chair.
Fern came slowly down the stairs. She lifted the lid off the box, and inside, looking up at her, was the newborn pig.
He's yours, saved from an untimely death, and may the good Lord forgive me for this foolishness.
Oh, look at him. He's absolutely perfect.
Fern's brother Avery came into the room. Avery was 10.
What's that? What's Fern got?
She's got a guest for breakfast. Now wash your hands and face, Avery.
Let's see it. You call that miserable thing a pig? That's a fine specimen of a pig. It's no bigger than a white rat.
Wash up and eat your breakfast, Avery.
Can I have a pig too, Pop?
No. I only distribute pigs to early risers. Fern was up at daylight trying to rid the world of injustice. As a result, she now has a pig. A small one, to be sure, but nevertheless a pig. It just shows that it can happen if a person gets out of bed promptly. Let's eat.
The school bus honked. The children ran out and climbed in. By the time the bus reached school, Fern had named her pet.
Its name is Wilbur.
Fern loved Wilbur more than anything. Every morning after breakfast, Wilbur walked out to the road, and Fern waited with her till the bus came. As soon as she got home, she would take him out, and he would follow her about the place. When he was 5 weeks old, Father said he was to be sold. Fern broke down and wept, but her father was firm about it.
He's got to go, Fern. You've had your fun raising a baby pig, but Wilbur is not a baby any longer, and he's got to be sold.
Call up the Zuckermans. Your Uncle Homer sometimes raises a pig, and if Wilbur goes there to live, you can walk down the road and visit him as often as you like.
How much money should I ask for him?
Well, he's a runt. Tell your Uncle Homer you've got a pig that you'll sell for $6, and see what he says.
It was soon arranged. Next day, Wilbur was taken from his home under the apple tree and went to live in a manure pile in the cellar of Zuckerman's barn. The barn was very large. It was very old. It smelled of hay and it smelled of manure. Fern came almost every day to visit. Here, she sat quietly during the long afternoons, thinking and listening and watching Wilbur. One afternoon in June, when Wilbur was almost 2 months old, he wandered out into his small yard, feeling lonely and bored.
There's never anything to do around here. I'm less than 2 months old and I'm tired of living. When I'm out here, there's no place to go but in. And when indoors, there's no place to go but out in the yard.
That's where you're wrong, my friend, my friend. You don't have to stay in that dirty little yard. One of the cords loose. Push on it. Push on it. And come on out.
What? Say it slower.
The risk of repeating myself, I suggest you come on out. It's wonderful out here.
Did you say a board was loose?
That I did.
Wilbur put his head down and pushed against the board. The board gave way, and he squeezed through and was standing in the long grass outside of the yard.
How does it feel to be free?
I I like it. That is, I guess I like it. Where do you think I'd better go?
Anywhere you like, anywhere you like. Go down through the orchard, root up the sod. Go down through the garden, dig up the radishes, root up everything. Eat grass, look for corn, skip and dance, jump and prance. Go down through the orchard and stroll in the woods. The world is a wonderful place when you're young.
I can see that.
Mrs. Zuckerman was the first to see him from the kitchen window, and she immediately shouted for the men.
Homer, pigs out! Lurvy, pigs out! Homer, Lurvy, pigs out! He's down there under that apple tree.
Now the trouble starts. Now I'll catch it.
Run, 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 downhill, make for the woods. They'll never, never, never catch you in the woods.
The news of Wilbur's escape spread rapidly among the animals of the place.
This is really awful. Why doesn't Fern come?
Don't just stand there, Wilbur. Dodge about, twist and turn.
Wilbur wished Fern were there to take him into her arms and comfort him. When he looked up and saw Mr. Zuckerman standing quite close to him, holding a pail of warm slops, he felt relieved. Wilbur took a step toward the pail.
No, it's the old pail trick. Wilbur, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. He's appealing to your stomach. You'll be sorry. You'll miss your freedom, and now our freedom is worth a barrel of slops.
He felt the pleasant rubbing of a stick along his itchy back. He felt peaceful and happy and sleepy. This had been a tiring afternoon. It was only about 4 o'clock, but Wilbur was ready for bed.
I'm really too young to go out into the world alone.
The next day was rainy and dark. Rain upset Wilbur's plans. Wilbur had planned to go out this day and dig a new hole in his yard. He awoke at 6, saw the rain, and seemed as though he couldn't bear it.
I get everything all beautifully planned out, and it has to go and rain. One day, just like another. I'm very young. I have no real friend here in the barn. It's going to rain all morning and all afternoon, and Fern won't come in such bad weather. Oh, honestly.
He wanted a friend, someone who would play with him. He mentioned this to the goose, who was sitting quietly in the sheepfold.
Will you come over and play with me?
Sorry. I'm sitting on my eggs. 8 of them. Got to keep them toasty warm. Have to stay right here. I'm no liberty gibbet. I do not play when there are eggs to hatch. I'm expecting goslings.
Well, I didn't think you were expecting woodpeckers.
Sadly, Wilbur lay down and listened to the rain. Soon he saw the rat Templeton climbing down a slanting board that he used as a stairway.
Will you play with me, Templeton? Play. I hardly know the meaning of the word. Well, it means to have fun, to frolic, to run and skip and make merry. I never do those things if I can avoid them. I prefer to spend my time eating, gnawing, spying, and hiding. Right now, I am on my way to your trough to eat your breakfast, since you haven't got enough sense to eat yourself.
Darkness settled over everything. You can imagine Wilbur's surprise when, out of the darkness, came a small voice he'd never heard before. It sounded rather thin, but pleasant.
Do you want a friend, Wilbur? I'll be a friend to you. I've watched you all day, and I like you.
But I can't see you. Where are you? And who are you?
I'm right up here. Go to sleep. You'll see me in the morning.
The night seemed long. Wilbur's stomach was empty, and his mind was full. And when your stomach is empty and your mind is full, it's always hard to sleep.
Day is almost here. Oh, beautiful day. It is here at last. Today I shall find my friend.
Wilbur looked everywhere. He hated to break the lovely stillness of dawn, but he couldn't think of another way to locate the mysterious new friend. So Wilbur cleared his throat.
Attention, please. Will the party who addressed me at bedtime last night kindly make himself or herself known by giving an appropriate sign or signal?
The sheep looked at each other in disgust.
Stop your nonsense, Wilbur. If you have a new friend here, you're probably disturbing his rest. And the quickest way to spoil a friendship is to wake somebody up in the morning before he is ready. How can we show your friend this early riser?
I beg everyone's pardon. I didn't mean to be objectionable.
Salutations.
What are they and where are you? Please tell me where you are and what are salutations?
Salutations are greetings. When I say salutations, it's just my fancy way of saying hello or good morning. Look up here in the corner of the doorway. Here I am. Look, I'm waving.
At last, Wilbur saw the creature that had spoken to him in such a kindly way. Stretched across the upper part of the doorway was a big spider web, and hanging from the top of the web, head down, was a large gray spider.
See me now?
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. How are you? Good morning. Salutations. Very pleased to meet you. May I have your name?
My name is Charlotte.
Charlotte what?
Charlotte A. Cavatica. But just call me Charlotte.
I think you're beautiful.
Yes, but I'm nearsighted. Watch me wrap up this fly. First I dive at him. Next I wrap him up. There, now I knock him out so he'll be more comfortable. He can't feel a thing now. He'll make a perfect breakfast for me.
You mean you eat flies?
Certainly, anything that's careless enough to get caught in my web. I have to live, don't I?
Why, yes, of course. Do they taste good?
Delicious. Of course, I don't really eat them. I drink them. Drink their blood. I love blood.
Don't say that. Please don't say things like that. It's a miserable inheritance.
Do you realize that if I didn't catch bugs and eat them, bugs would get so numerous that they'd destroy the earth and everything?
Really? I don't want that to happen. Perhaps your web is a good thing after all. Well, I've got a new friend, all right. Charlotte is fierce, brutal, scheming, bloodthirsty, everything I don't like. How can I learn to like her, even though she's pretty and, of course, clever?
One afternoon, when Fern was sitting on her stool, the oldest sheep walked into the barn and stopped to pay a call on Wilbur.
Hello, seems to me you're putting on weight. That. Yes, I guess I am. At my age, I guess it's a good idea to keep gaining. Just the same, I don't envy you. You know why they're fattening you up, don't you? No! They're fattening you up because they're going to kill you, that's why. They're going to what? Kill, turn you into smoked bacon and ham. Almost all young pigs are murdered by the farmer as soon as the real cold weather sets in. Stop! I don't want to die! Save me! Somebody save me!
Be quiet, Wilbur.
I can't be quiet. I don't want to be killed. Is it true they're going to kill me when the cold weather comes?
Well, she has seen many a spring pig come and go. I'm sure it's true. It's also the dirtiest trick I ever heard of. What people don't think of.
I don't want to die. I want to breathe the beautiful air and lie in the beautiful sun.
You shall not die.
Really? Who's going to save me?
I am. I am going to save you. And I want you to quiet down immediately. I can't stand hysterics.
On Sunday morning, Mr. and Mrs. Arable and Fern were sitting at the breakfast table in the kitchen.
Did you know that Uncle Homer's goslings hatched? How many? 7. There were 8 eggs, but 1 egg didn't hatch, and the goose told Templeton she didn't want it anymore, so he took it away.
Who is Templeton?
He's the rat. None of us like him much.
Who's us?
Oh, everybody in the barn cellar. Wilbur, the sheep, the lamb, the goose, the gander, the goslings, and Charlotte and me.
Charlotte. Who's Charlotte?
She's Wilbur's best friend. She's terribly clever.
What does she look like?
Well, she has 8 legs. All spiders do, I guess.
Charlotte is a spider?
A big gray one. She catches flies and sucks their blood. Wilbur adores her. Do you know what Charlotte said when the goslings hatched?
I haven't the faintest idea. Tell us.
When the first gosling stuck its little head out, Charlotte said, I'm sure that every one of us here in the barn cellar will be gratified to learn that after 4 weeks of unremitting effort and patience on the part of the goose, she now is going to show for it. Don't you think that was a pleasant thing for her to say?
Yes, I do. And now, Fern, it's time to get ready for Sunday school. And tell Avery to get ready. This morning, you can tell me more about what goes on in Uncle Homer's barn. Aren't you spending quite a lot of time there?
I like it there.
I worry about Fern. Did you hear the way she rambled on about the animals, pretending like they talked?
Maybe they do talk. I've sometimes wondered. At any rate, don't worry. worry about Fern. She's just got a lively imagination. Maybe her ears aren't as sharp as Fern's.
One afternoon, Fern heard the most interesting conversation and witnessed a strange event.
You have awfully hairy legs, Charlotte.
My legs are hairy for a good reason. Furthermore, each leg of mine has 7 sections.
You are kidding. Goodness, I don't think my legs have 7 sections.
Well, you and I lead different lives. You don't have to spin a web. That takes real leg work.
I could spin a web if I tried. I've just never tried.
Well, let's see you do it.
Okay, you coach me and I'll spin one. Must be a lot of fun to spin a web. How do I start?
Take a deep breath. Now climb to the highest place you can get to, like this.
Wilbur scrambled to the top of the manure pile.
Very good. Make an attachment with your spinnerets. Hurl yourself into space and let it in a drag line as you go down.
Wilbur hesitated a moment. Then he jumped out into the air. He glanced hastily behind to see if a rope was following him to check his fall, but nothing seemed to be happening in his rear. And the next thing he knew, he landed with a thump. Charlotte laughed so hard her web began to sway.
What did I do wrong?
Nothing. It was a nice try. But cheer up. You don't need a web. Zuckerman supplies you with 3 big meals a day. Why should you worry about trapping food?
You're ever so much cleverer and brighter than I am, Charlotte. I guess I was just trying to show off. Serve me right.
I'm glad I'm a sedentary spider.
What does sedentary mean?
It means I sit still a good part of the time and don't go wandering all over creation. I stay put and wait for what comes.
You know where I'd really like to be this evening?
Where?
In a forest looking for beech nuts and truffles and delectable roots. Pushing leaves aside with my wonderful strong nose, searching and sniffing along the ground. Smelling, smelling, smelling. You smell just the way you walk. I can smell you from here. You're the smelliest creature in the place. Bam.
Wilbur hung his head. His eyes grew wet with tears. Charlotte noticed his embarrassment, and she spoke sharply to the sheep.
Let Wilbur alone. He has a perfect right to smell, considering his surroundings. You're no bundle of sweet peas yourself. What were we talking about, Wilbur, when we were so rudely interrupted?
Oh, I don't remember. It doesn't make any difference. I'm getting sleepy. It's a lovely evening, Charlotte. How are you going to save me?
Well, I don't really know, but I'm working on a plan.
That's wonderful. How's the plan coming, Charlotte? Is it coming along pretty well?
Oh, it's coming all right. The plan is still in its early stages and hasn't completely shaped up yet, but I'm working on it.
I'd be only too glad to help in any way I can.
Oh, I'll work it out alone. I can think better if I think alone.
Day after day, the spider waited, head down, for an idea to come to her. Charlotte was naturally patient. She felt for sure that if she waited long enough and thought about it, then an idea would come to her mind. Finally, one morning in the middle of July, the idea came.
Why, how perfectly simple. The way to save Wilbur's life is to play tricks on Zuckerman. If I can fool a bug, I can surely fool a man. People are not as smart as bugs.
What are you thinking about, Charlotte?
I was just thinking that people are very gullible.
What does gullible mean?
Easy to fool.
Mr. Zuckerman had the best swing in the county. It was a long piece of heavy rope tied to a beam over the north doorway. You climbed a ladder to the hayloft, and then holding the rope, you stood at the edge and looked down and were scared and dizzy. Then you got up all your nerve, took a deep breath, and jumped. Mothers for miles around worried about Zuckerman's swing. They feared some child would fall off, but no child ever did. When the children grew tired of swinging, they went toward the pasture and picked wild raspberries and ate them. And then the children walked back up to the barn.
Let's build a tree house. I want to live in a tree with my frog.
I'm going to visit Wilbur.
They climbed the fence into the lane and walked lazily toward the pig pen. Wilbur heard them coming and got up. Avery noticed the spider web coming closer. He saw Charlotte.
Hey, look at that big spider. It's tremendous.
Leave it alone. You've got a frog. Isn't that enough?
That's a fine spider. I'm going to capture it. I'm going to knock that old spider into this box.
You stop it, Avery.
Avery put one leg over the fence of the pig pen. He swayed and toppled and landed on the edge of Wilbur's trough. The trough tipped up and came down with a slap, and the goose egg was right underneath. There was a dull explosion as the egg broke, and then a horrible smell. Fern screamed. Avery jumped to his feet. The air was filled with the terrible gases and smells of the rotting egg. Templeton, who had been resting in his home, scuttled away into the barn.
Good night. Good night. What a stink. Let's get out of here.
Later that morning, the animals came up from the pasture. There were many complaints about the awful smell, and Wilbur had to tell the story over and over again.
It was that rotten goose egg that saved Charlotte's life. I'm delighted that the egg never hatched.
It pays to save things. A rat never knows when something is going to come in handy. I never throw anything away.
Well, this whole business is all well and good for Charlotte, but what about the rest of us? The smell is unbearable. Who wants to live in a barn that's perfumed with rotten eggs?
Don't worry, you'll get used to it.
The next day was foggy. Charlotte's Web was truly a thing of beauty on foggy mornings. This morning, each thin strand was decorated with dozens of tiny beads of water. Even Lurvy, who wasn't particularly interested in beauty, noticed it when he came with the pig's breakfast. He noticed how clearly it showed up, and he noticed how big and carefully built it was. And then he took another look, and he saw something that made him set the pail down. There, in the center of the web, neatly woven in block letters, was a message. It said, "Some pig." Lurvy felt weak. He brushed his hand across his eyes and stared harder at Charlotte's Web.
I'm seeing things.
He dropped to his knees and uttered a short prayer. Then, forgetting all about Wilbur's breakfast, he walked back to the house and called Mr. Zucker.
I think you better come down to the pig pen.
What's the trouble? Anything wrong with the pig?
Not exactly. Come and see for yourself. Do you see what I see?
Some pig.
Some pig.
Some pig. You don't suppose that spider?
Zuckerman walked back to the house.
Edith, something has happened. I've got something to tell you, Edith. You better sit down. Edith, I think you better be told if we have a very unusual pig.
Homer Zuckerman, what in the world are you talking about?
This is a very serious thing, Edith. Our pig is completely out of the ordinary.
What's unusual about the pig?
Well, I don't really know yet, but we have received a sign, Edith, a mysterious sign. A miracle has happened on this farm. There's a large spider's web in the doorway of the barn cellar, right over the pig pen. And when Lurvy went to feed the pig this morning, he noticed the web because it was foggy. I know. And right spang in the middle of the web, there were the words, "Some pig." I know because I've been down there and seen them. Some pig, just as clear can be. A miracle has happened and a sign has occurred here on earth, right on our farm. And we have no ordinary pig.
Well, it seems to me you're a little off. It seems to me we have no ordinary spider.
Oh no, it's the pig that's unusual. It says so right there in the middle of the spider's web.
Maybe so. Just the same, I intend to have a look at that spider.
It's just a common gray spider.
They got together and they walked down to Wilbur's yard.
You see, Edith? Just a common gray spider.
And just before they left that pig pen, Mr. Zuckerman took one last look at Wilbur.
You know, I've thought all along that pig of ours was an extra good one. He's a solid pig. That pig is as solid as they come.
I've always noticed that pig. He's quite a pig.
Now, secrets are hard to keep. Everybody knew that a sign appeared in a spider's web on the Zuckerman place. Fern was happy, for she felt that Charlotte's trick was working and that Wilbur's life would be spared. One evening, a few days after the writing had appeared, the spider called a meeting of all the animals in the barn cellar.
Well, we're all here except the rat. I guess we can proceed without him. The message I wrote in my web has been received. Zuckerman thinks Wilbur is an unusual pig, and therefore he won't want to kill him and eat him. I dare say my trick will work and Wilbur's life can be saved.
Hooray!
Now, I called this meeting in order to get suggestions. I need new ideas for the web. People are already getting sick of reading the word some pig. Any suggestions for a new slogan?
How about Pig Supreme? Bad.
No good. It sounds like a rich dessert.
How about terrific, terrific, terrific?
Cut that down to one terrific, and it will do very nicely. I think terrific might impress Zuckerman.
I agree that there should be something new written in the web if Wilbur's life is to be saved. And if Charlotte needs help in finding words, I think she can get it from her friend Templeton. The rat visits the dump regularly and has access to old magazines. He can tear out bits of her advertisements and bring them up here to the barn so that Charlotte can have something to copy.
Good idea. But I'm not sure Templeton will be willing to help. You know how he is, always looking out for himself, never thinking of the other fellow.
I bet I can get him to help. I'll appeal to his major instincts, for which he has plenty. Here he comes now. Everybody keep quiet while I put the matter up to him.
What's up?
We're holding a director's meeting.
Well, break it up. Meeting's for me.
And the rat began to climb a rope that hung against the wall.
Look, next time you go to dump Templeton, bring back a clipping from a magazine. Charlotte needs new ideas so that she can write messages in her web and save a Wilbur's life.
Let him die. I should worry.
You'll worry all right on a zero morning next January when Wilbur is dead. Nobody comes down here with a nice pail of warm slosh to pour in the trash. If Wilbur is killed and his trough stands empty day after day, it'll grow so thin we can look right through your stomach and see objects.
Maybe you're right. I'm making a trip to the dump tomorrow afternoon. I'll bring back a magazine with me, if I can find one.
Thank you. The meeting is now adjourned. I've got to tear my web apart and write terrific.
Well, I'm not terrific, Charlotte. I'm just about average for a pig.
You're my best friend, and I think you're sensational.
And so, talking to herself, the spider worked at her difficult task. When Lurvy arrived with breakfast, there was the handsome pig, and over him, woven neatly in block letters, was the word terrific. Another miracle. Lurvy rushed and called Mr. Zuckerman, Mrs. Zuckerman, called the Arables. Everybody stood at the pig pen and stared at the web and read the word over and over.
Terrific. Edith, you better phone the reporter on the Weekly Chronicle and tell him what has happened. He may want to bring a photographer. There isn't a pig in the whole state that's as terrific as our pig. Lurvy, there's to be no more cow manure thrown down into that pig pen. I have a terrific pig. I want that pig to have clean, bright straw every day for his bedding. Understand? And furthermore, I want you to start building a crate for Wilbur. I've decided to take the pig to the county fair on September 6th. Make the crate large and paint it green with gold letters.
What will the letters say?
They should say, Zuckerman's famous pig.
It was Saturday. Fern stood at the kitchen sink, drying the breakfast dishes as her mother washed them.
Charlotte is the best storyteller I've ever heard.
Ferd, you must not invent things. You know spiders don't tell stories. Spiders can't talk.
Charlotte can. She doesn't talk very loud, but she talks.
Ferd, darling, I wish you would play outdoors today instead of going to Uncle Hilber's barn. You're spending too much time in that barn. It isn't good for you to be alone so much.
Alone. All alone. My best friends are in that barn cellar. It's a very sociable place. Not lonely at all.
The crickets sang in the grass. They sang the song of summer's ending, a sad, monotonous song. Everybody heard the song of the crickets. Charlotte heard it and knew that she hadn't much time left. Mrs. Zuckerman, at work in the kitchen, heard the crickets and a sadness came over her too. But even the song of the crickets did not make Wilbur too sad. He knew it was almost time for the county fair, and he was looking forward to the trip. If he could distinguish himself at the fair and maybe win some prize money, he was sure Zuckerman would let him live.
You're going with me, aren't you, Charlotte?
Wilbur, I don't know. The fair comes at a bad time for me. I shall find it inconvenient to leave home, even for a few days.
Why?
Oh, I just don't feel like leaving my web. Too much going on around here.
Please come with me. I need you, Charlotte. I can't stand going to the fair without you.
No, I believe I'd better stay home and see if I can't get some work done.
What kind of work?
Egg laying. It's time I made an egg sack and filled it with eggs.
I didn't know you could lay eggs.
Oh, sure. I'm versatile.
What does versatile mean? Full of eggs?
Certainly not. Versatile means I can turn with ease from one thing to another. It means I don't have to limit my activities to spinning and trapping and stunts like that.
Why don't you come with me to the fairgrounds and lay your eggs there? It would be wonderful fun.
I'm afraid not. You don't know the first about egg laying, Wilbur. When I get ready to lay eggs, I have to lay eggs, fair or no fair. However, I'll come to the fair if I possibly can.
Oh, good. I knew you wouldn't forsake me just when I need you most.
Bright and early, Lurvy put clean straw in Wilbur's crate, and he lifted it into the pig pen. In the kitchen, Mrs. Zuckerman suddenly made an announcement.
Homer, I'm going to give that pig a buttermilk bath.
A what?
A buttermilk bath. My grandmother used to bathe her pig with buttermilk when it got dirty.
Wilbur's not dirty.
He's filthy behind the ears. Every time Lurvy slops him, the food runs down around the ears, then it dries and forms a crust. He also has a smudge on one side where he lays in the manure.
He lays in clean straw.
Well, he's dirty, and he's going to have a bath.
Meanwhile, the 7 goslings paraded round and round their mother.
Please, please, please take us to the fair. Children, we're staying quietly, idly at home. Only Wilbur is going to the fair.
I shall go too. I've decided to go with Wilbur. He may need me. We can't tell what may happen at the fairgrounds. Somebody's got to go along who knows how to write. And I think Templeton better come too. I might need somebody to run errands and do general work.
I'm staying right here. I haven't the slightest interest in fairs.
That's because you've never been to one. A fair is a rat's paradise. Everybody spills food at a fair. A rat can creep out late at night and have a feast. After the glaring lights are out and the people have gone home to bed, you'll find veritable treasure of popcorn fragments, frozen custard gremlins, candied apples avenged by tired children. Everywhere to loot for a rat. In tents, in booths, in haylofts. Why, a fair has enough disgusting leftover food to satisfy a whole army of rats.
Is this true? Is this appetizing yarn of yours true? I like high living, but you say empty.
It is. Go to the fair, Templeton. You'll find that conditions at the fill with trash and wild streets.
That's enough. Don't tell me anymore. I'm going.
Good. Now then, there is no time to be lost. Wilbur will soon be put into the crate. Templeton and I must get in the crate right now and hide ourselves.
The rat didn't waste a minute. He scampered over the crate, crawled between the slats, and pulled straw up over him so he was hidden from sight.
All right, I'm next.
What a cargo. That sign on to say Zuckerman's famous pig and 2 stowaways. Bah. Look out! People are coming. Cheese it, cheese it, cheese it. Listen, when they open the crate, try to put you in. Struggle. Don't go without a tussle. Pigs always resist when they're being loaded. Bah.
If I struggle, I'll get dirty. Struggle if you must, but kindly remember that I'm hiding down here in this crate, and I don't want to be stepped on. Just watch what you're doing, Mr. Radiant, when they get shoving you in.
Be quiet, Templeton. Hold your head. They're coming. Look radiant, Wilbur. Lay low, Charlotte. Talk it out, geese.
That's a pig.
He's terrific.
He's very radiant.
Well, he's clean anyway.
Yes, he's a wonderful pig. It's hard to believe that he was the runt of the litter. You'll get some extra good ham and bacon, Homer, when it comes time to kill that pig.
I think I'm going to faint.
Kneel down, little louder. Rise to your head.
Look, he's fading away. Hey, watch me. I'm a pig. I'm a pig.
What a mess. What fantastic creatures boys are.
Avery, you get out of that crate this instant. What do you think you are?
I'm a pig. Oink, oink. The truck is rolling away, Papa.
The truck, with no one at the wheel, had started to roll downhill. Mr. Arable dashed to the driver's seat and pulled on the emergency brake. The truck stopped.
The pig has passed out. Throw water on him.
It's sunstroke. The heat's too much for him.
Wilbur, feeling the cold water, came to. He rose slowly to his feet while the geese cheered. Mr. Zuckerman and Mr. Arable and Lurvy grabbed the pig and pushed it head first toward the crate. Wilbur kicked and thrashed and grunted. Nothing wrong with this pig.
All together now, boys. Shove.
Everybody in!
The truck began to move ahead. When they pulled into the fairgrounds, they could hear music and see the Ferris wheel turning in the sky.
Can I have some money?
Can I too?
I'm going to win a doll by spinning a wheel and it'll stop on the right number.
I'm going to steer a jet plane and make it bump into another one.
You children be quiet till we get the pig unloaded.
Let's let the children off by themselves. The fair only comes once a year. Now run along, and remember, the money has to last all day.
And if you go on those swings, you hang on tight. You hang on very tight. Hear me?
Watch out for pickpockets!
Do you really think it's all right?
Well, they've got to grow up sometime. The fair is a good place to start, I guess.
In the cool of the evening, when shadows darkened the fairgrounds, Templeton crept from the crate and looked around and decided to go exploring. Without saying anything to anybody, he started off.
Bring me back a word. I shall be ready tonight for the last time.
Templeton kept out of sight. In the tall grass behind the cattle barn, he found a faded newspaper. Inside it were leftovers from somebody's lunch. The rat crawled in and ate everything. Then he tore a word out of the paper, rolled it up, and started back to Wilbur's pen.
I hope you brought a good one. It is the last word I shall ever write.
Here,
What does it say? You'll have to read it for me.
it says humble.
Humble. Humble has two meanings. It means not proud. It means near the ground. That's Wilbur all over.
Well, I hope you're satisfied. I'm not going to spend all my time fetching, carrying. I came to this fair to enjoy myself, not to deliver papers.
You've been very helpful. Run along if you want to see more of the fair.
I'm going to make a night of it.
Everyone was tired and happy. Fern and Avery climbed into the truck and lay down. They pulled the Indian blanket over them, and Lurvy gave Wilbur a fork full of fresh straw.
Time for us to go home. See you tomorrow.
And the next morning, when first light came into the sky, Wilbur awoke and looked for Charlotte. He saw her up overhead in a corner near the back of his pen.
Are you awake, Charlotte?
Yes,
What is that nifty little thing? Did you make it?
I did indeed.
Is it a plaything?
Plaything? I should say not. It is my egg sac, my magnum opus.
I don't know what a magnum opus is.
That's Latin. It means great work. This egg sac is my great work, the finest thing I've ever made.
What's inside it? Eggs?
514 of them.
514? You're kidding.
No, I'm not. I counted them. I got started counting, so I kept on, just to keep my mind occupied.
It's a perfectly beautiful egg sac.
Yes, it is pretty. It's made out of the toughest material I have. It is also waterproof. The eggs are inside will be warm and dry.
Charlotte, are you really going to have 514 children?
If nothing happens, yes. Of course they won't show up till next spring.
What makes you sound so downhearted? I should think you'd be terribly happy about this.
Oh, don't pay any attention to me. I just don't have much pep anymore. I guess I feel sad because I won't ever see my children.
What do you mean you won't see your children? Of course you will. We'll all see them.
I have a feeling I'm not going to see the results of last night's efforts. I don't feel good at all. I think I'm languishing, to tell you the truth.
What does languishing mean?
It means I'm slowing up, feeling my age. I'm not young anymore, Wilbur. But I don't want you to worry about me. This is your big day today. Look at my web. Doesn't it show up well with the dew on it?
I'm back. What a night! What a night! What feasting and carousing! A real gorge. Never have I seen such leaving, and everything well ripened and seasoned with the passage of time and the heat of the day. Oh, it was rich, my friends, rich.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. It would serve you right if you didn't
bad news. As I came past that pig next door, the one that calls himself Uncle, I noticed a blue tag on the front of his pen. That means he has won first prize. I wouldn't be surprised if Zuckerman changes his mind about you. Wait till he gets hankering for some fresh pork and smoked ham and crisp bacon. He'll take the knife to you, my boy.
Be still, Templeton. You're too stuffed and bloated to know what you're talking about.
At 9 o'clock, Mr. Arable's truck rolled into the fairgrounds and came to a stop at Wilbur's Pen.
Look at Charlotte's Web. Look what it says.
Humble. Now isn't that just the word for Wilbur?
Wait a minute, look at this. This pig has won first prize already.
Suddenly, a voice was heard on a loudspeaker. Attention, please. Will Mr. Homer Zuckerman bring his famous pig to the judge's booth in front of the grandstand? A special award will be made there in 20 minutes. Everyone is invited to attend. Crate your pig, please, Mr. Zuckerman, and report to the judge's booth promptly.
We have no time to lose. Lurby, help with the crate.
The management of the fair takes great pleasure in presenting Mr. Homer L. Zuckerman and his famous pig. Will the crowd please make way and let the truck pass? Thank you. On behalf of the governors of the fair, I have the honor of awarding a special prize of $25 to Mr. Zuckerman, together with a handsome bronze medal suitably engraved in appreciation of the part played by this pig, this radiant, this terrific, this humble pig in attracting so many visitors to our great county fair.
Charlotte, why are you so quiet?
I like to sit still. I've always been rather quiet.
Yes, but you seem especially so today. Do you feel all right?
A little tired, perhaps, but I feel peaceful. Your success in the ring this morning was, to a small degree, my success. Your future is assured. You will live secure and safe, Wilbur.
Oh, Charlotte, to think that when I first met you, I thought you were cruel and bloodthirsty.
You have been my friend. That in itself is a tremendous thing. I wove my webs for you because I liked you. After all, what's a life anyway? We're born, we live a little while, we die.
Well, I'm no good at making speeches. I haven't got your gift for words. But you have saved me, Charlotte, and I would gladly give my life for you. I really would.
I'm sure you would, and I thank you for your generous sentiments.
Charlotte, we're all going home today. The fair is almost over. Won't it be wonderful to be back home in the barn cellar again with the sheep and the geese?
How will I be going back to the barn?
Not going back? Charlotte, what are you talking about?
I'm done for. In a day or two, I'll be dead. I haven't even enough strength to climb down into the crate. I doubt if I have enough silk in my spinnerets to lower me to the ground.
Hearing this, Wilbur threw himself down in an agony of pain and sorrow.
Charlotte, Charlotte, my true friend.
Come now, let's not make a scene. Be quiet, Wilbur.
But I can't stand it. I won't leave you here alone to die. If you're going to stay here, I should stay too.
Don't be ridiculous. You can't stay here. There would be no one to feed you. The fairgrounds will soon be empty and deserted.
Wilbur was in a panic. If Charlotte herself was unable to go home to the barn, at least he must take her children along.
Where's Templeton?
He's in the corner, under the straw, asleep.
Wilbur rushed over, pushed his strong snout under the rat, and tossed him into the air.
Templeton, pay attention! What kind of a monkey shine is this? Can a rat catch a wink of sleep without being rudely popped into the air? Listen to me. Charlotte is very ill. She has only a short time to live. She cannot accompany us home because of her condition. Therefore, it is absolutely necessary that I take her egg sack with me. Please, 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 Templeton, climb up there and get the egg sack. So it's old Templeton to the rescue again, is it? Templeton do this, Templeton do that. Templeton, please run out to the dump and get me a magazine clipping. Oh, hurry, hurry up, Templeton. So it's hurry up, Templeton, is it? Never a kind word for old Templeton. Only abuse and wisecracks and ciderbucks. Never a kind word for a rat. Templeton, if you don't stop talking and get busy, all will be lost. I will die of a broken heart. Please climb up. Die of a broken heart. How touching. My, I know it's just always me you come to when in trouble, but I've never heard of anyone's heart breaking on my account. Oh no, who cares anything about old Templeton? Get up! Stop acting like a spoiled child. Has it ever occurred to you
carefully took the little bundle in his mouth and held it there on the top of his tongue. He remembered what Charlotte had told him, that the sack was waterproof and strong. As he was being shoved into the crate, he looked up at Charlotte and gave her a wink.
Goodbye.
Then she summoned all her strength and waved one of her front legs at him. She never moved again. And so Wilbur came home to his beloved manure pile in the barn cellar. He placed Charlotte's 514 unborn children carefully in a safe corner.
Congratulations. Nice work.
All winter, Wilbur watched over Charlotte's egg sack as though he were guarding his own children. For Wilbur, nothing in life was as important as this small round object. Nothing else mattered. The winter ended at last.
Springtime, another spring.
One fine sunny morning, Wilbur stood watching his precious sack. As he stood there, he noticed something move. He stepped closer and stared. A tiny spider crawled from the sack. It looked just like Charlotte. Charlotte's children were here at last.
Hello there. I'm a friend of your mother's. I'm glad to see you. Are you all right? Is everything all right? Is there anything I can get you?
But the young spiders just waved. Then came a quiet morning when Mr. Zuckerman opened a door on the north side and a warm draft of rising air blew through the barn cellar. One spider climbed to the top of the fence. The spider stood on its head, pointed its spinnerets in the air, and let loose a cloud of fine silk. As Wilbur watched, the spider let go of the fence and rose into the air. Goodbye, it said.
Wait a minute. Where do you think you're going?
The air was soon filled with tiny balloons, each carrying a spider. Wilbur was frantic.
Come back, children.
But at last, one little spider took time enough to stop and talk to Wilbur.
We're leaving here on the warm updraft. This is our moment for setting forth. We're going out into the world to make webs for ourselves.
But where?
Wherever the wind takes us, high, low, near, far, east, west, north, south. We take to the breeze, we go as we please.
Are all of you going? You can't all go. I'll be left here alone with no friends.
Wilbur cried himself to sleep. When he woke, it was late afternoon. He looked into the air, but the balloonists were gone. Then he walked drearily to the doorway where Charlotte's web used to be.
Salutations, I'm up here.
So am I.
So am I. 3 of us are staying. We like this place and we like you.
Can I take this to mean that you have definitely decided to live here in the barn cellar? And that I'm going to have 3 friends?
You have indeed.
Mr. Zuckerman took fine care of Wilbur all the rest of his days, and the pig was often visited by friends and admirers, for nobody ever forgot the year of his triumph and the miracle of the web. Wilbur never forgot Charlotte. Although he loved her children and grandchildren dearly, none of the new spiders ever quite took her place in his heart. She was in a class all by herself. It's not often that you meet someone who is a true friend and a good writer. Charlotte was both.